Hello, and welcome back to Hear Me Out. It's just a thought. Today, I want to pick back up two topics that I had already spoken about. And on the surface, they look different, they look unrelated, but I think underneath, they're rooted in the same problem. So, first, we will talk about this Love Island season 6 breakup between Jana and Kenny. And then we'll also talk about the latest update with the Shannon Sharpe and Gabriela Zuniga situation. He just settled with her and also got fired by ESPN. So lots to talk about. So today's episode, like always, is not necessarily about gossip, but I think we need to just talk about cultural deception and how the game is rigged and how we all get kind of played. And also, I want to bring it back home the way I always do. I want to know what you think about these situations and what you think lies in the back end of it all. And so, you know what? Hear me out. It's just a thought. Okay, first of all, if you are new here, you've never heard my voice, so glad you're here. My name is Gigi. This is the Hear Me Out, Just a Thought podcast. I like to talk about a bunch of things, but mostly faith and culture and everything in between and real life issues. Sometimes, most times, I would say I pick up whatever is trending on the internet and I like to look at it and see how we can all grow from it. So you know what? If you want honest talk that helps you think deeper and walk wiser and live freer. Oh, that sounds good. What did I say? Think deeper, walk wiser, live freer. How about I just make that like a slogan? Sorry, backtrack. So if that's what you need, you know what? You're in the right place. Hit subscribe. Let's stick together. So I have not watched season 6 of Love Island. You already know because I've made episodes about it that I have watched season 7 because it was trending so much. And now what is trending is a sad breakup between two participants of the previous season 6. Their names, I hope I'm pronouncing all of their names right, but they're Jana and Kenny. I heard that they were one of the beloved couples coming out of that season of Love Island season 6. You know, the fans loved their chemistry. They had like post-show growth because I heard that they were on another show that is like a spin-off of the Love Island series. And I think even in the Black community, there was a lot of conversation about how Janae felt like a beautiful, relatable, soft, but strong representation of a woman trying to love with intention. That's kind of the vibe that I've been getting. I might be completely wrong on this. I've just picked up a couple of things and articles and threads and forums. So let me know, first of all, if that's true. Was that the perception? But of course, what is in the news now, it's that recently she made a very public statement confirming that her boyfriend and her had broken up. And the thing is, it's not just because things fizzle, life happens. The story would have been that, Kenny, the boyfriend, has made racially insensitive comments about her throughout the relationship and kind of opened up with his homies, with his friends, about not really liking her or faking the whole relationship. And so I think after a year, from what I understand, after a year of dating, this came as a bomb to the followers of the show, the followers of her followers, his followers, everyone. And what is wild, I think, is that even before this breakup, some people, from what I heard, were already pointing out the red flags and things that Kenny had said on podcasts, the energy in the interviews, the way she seemed to always be the one doing the emotional labor. So again, I did not watch season 6. I might be just going off of what people take time to write online. But, like most public relationships, people hope that they work out when they seem genuine. And now the internet is reacting, right? It always reacts. The internet will always internet. That's why we have topics like these. And some people are heartbroken for her, understandably. Other people are saying that she should have known better, so they're a little bit more critical of her. And there are even a few voices that I've seen this taking it a little further, asking if this can, be so deceptive that it would constitute RAPE when it comes to lying to somebody and being in an intimate relationship with them on false premises. And so this is becoming a bigger conversation. But here's my thought. I think when sometimes we try to keep making romance work with people who don't respect us. I think that happens. I also think sometimes it's just a matter of being a bad judge of character or not seeing the red flags. I think sometimes we also silence our inner wisdom to keep up some type of image that's not necessarily rooted in truth. So I won't pretend I know these people, but it made me think of those behaviors that we have all been, I guess, guilty of sometimes. And a lot of what Janae did or didn't do, I guess, is something a lot of people do or don't do, especially women, now men too, I would say, that they do in silence. We can see red flags, but we're kind of already emotionally invested. We can see that the person is after something else than, pure love or relationship, but we kind of ignore it because it looks nice, or other people are invested in our relationship. Maybe we've already attached our dreams and future plans and public life, public posts, and we kind of start doing something that's bad, which is we start trading truth for hope, I think. And so again, it's not necessarily just about their relationship. I know almost nothing. You may have even understood already that I got out of that specific example, but I think it could be a cultural pattern. I keep talking about this on my channel. We sometimes idolize things that look good on screen. We can idolize relationships that look good on screen, but we ignore the cost of pursuing love without the character. And I think in these types of shows, like I mentioned, I won't repeat myself too much, but in these types of shows, the people that go on these dating shows, yes, there's a smaller percentage maybe that are genuinely looking for love, but most times there's a check attached, there's notoriety attached, influencer deals and things like that. So it's all wrapped up in attention and brand deals and exposure, and not rooted in shared values. So you may win followers, but you may lose some of the foundation that you have. And the truth is that real love needs a foundation, as I have said in the past. And so to have that foundation, you have to have wisdom. You have to be discerning. You have to be a good judge of character. You have to be able to look at life for what it is, look at culture for what it is, look at relationships for what they are, seek truth. So you need wisdom. And if you've been on this channel since day one, you already know I'm about to go in the book of Proverbs because A, it's my favorite book. 2, it's the wisdom book. 3, it's the Bible. The Bible is true. And 4, I always got to plug the Bible. We can't just talk about reality TV all day. Hello. And so about wisdom, Proverbs in chapter 4 on verse 7 says that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So basically, it's saying, get wisdom, you'll be smart. Get wisdom, you'll understand things. Get wisdom, and you'll have knowledge. And I think it applies to relationships. If we want relationships that last, and if we want to protect our dignity, we need to stop looking for vibes and start asking for wisdom and seeking wisdom. And I want to kind of put a disclaimer. Again, it's not her fault. I don't think that we need to blame her for anything that she is that facing right now. I don't know the story enough, and I'm not, from what we see, she didn't do really anything wrong. But I am saying, if this person came into a relationship and faked it and was after the money, and then was chatting with his friends behind her back and calling her names, I think at some point we have to look at how the relationship starts, and pay attention to that when it's our life. So I feel for her for sure. I feel for whoever is around the man as well, because it's going to be a tough day, month, year for all of his family as well. I pray that he maybe gets, some understanding of what real life is about and lets go of whatever, perception he has about a skin color. But that's not really my business. That's not really this channel's business. I'm just saying that sometimes you can see from a mile away if a person is there for the right reasons, via how they enter a relationship with you. That's my piece, but I might, again, be judging too harshly. Let me know what you think about that relationship being over. What could have been avoided? Have you been following? Have you not been following? All of that stuff. So that being said, though, at the same time or around the same time, the Shannon Sharpe and OnlyFans person was happening. The story is different. And again, I covered it already on this channel. You can go back and see how I was talking about discipline and men and the cost of not having discipline. But I think, again, it's about playing yourself by trusting the wrong thing. And that's where I link it to this Jana and Kenny situation. So like I said, if you missed it earlier this year, Shannon was, he's a very famous podcaster and ex-NFL player. He's also on ESPN. I won't lie, I don't know what they're called. Is it like a sports analyst? What are people called that are on ESPN and comment about sports? So sports commentator. Look at me. So he was kind of in a situation where he's being accused of, sexual things by Gabriela Zuniga. She was a very young OnlyFans model, I guess they're called, who claimed that they were in a relationship, and she threatened, or she did. I can't remember if she did actually put private videos of him online. But anyhow, so he got sued by her and the internet exploded back then. He denied having a serious relationship with her, or at least being guilty of whatever she was accusing him of, but the damage was already done by that time. So fast forward to now, and according to the updates that I've seen, again, maybe I'm late, maybe I didn't get it all, but I think I've seen that he has quietly settled with her. He paid her off a substantial amount, I guess. And now she has enough and she has retired from OnlyFans. And, she's saying she's going to move on with her life. But what's kind of not fun is that he can't really move on with his life too much right now, because not only is the money in her pockets, but also he's been fired by ESPN following all of that. Lost a lot of credibility, of course. He's not on ESPN's, show, First Take a lineup anymore. And just the vibe around him has shifted. People are mocking him and saying, you should have known better than to mess with a very young girl. You should have known better than to mess with an OnlyFans girl. You should, plenty of things, right? He's just not being taken seriously, not because he's lost his talent or lost his business intelligence or anything like that. But like I mentioned, to me, what it looks like is he lost all of that because he also he lacked at that moment discernment and judgment and discipline. And because he ignored what I feel like would have been common sense. So again, it's not to say that I know his life or her life, but I use it as an example because he won't be the first man to fumble his reputation over, lust, and sometimes people do it out of loneliness as well. But he might be the most recent example of how, and I keep saying this, I'm going to repeat myself, but when you have a lot of freedom, alleged freedom without the boundaries, it leads to bondage, not freedom. Freedom without the boundaries, freedom without the wisdom, freedom without guardrails leads to bondage. And I've said this before, and I will pull out Galatians. Galatians 5:13 says, "You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh." The flesh, if you're new here or you haven't really opened a Bible like that, you're not Christian like that, you're not a believer like that. The flesh is just a way to say that we want things that the flesh want. We're human beings. Sometimes we want to eat food that pleases our body, like our body likes it, or I guess the hormones that get released in our brains tell us this is amazing, this is the best food ever, but it could be trash, food. And the flesh wants what it wants. So sometimes when you hear Christian talk about the flesh, it just means the human nature, the human body, the desire, the lust, the gluttony, all of that things that can lead to sin, or that can lead to your own destruction. And so what Galatians is saying here is we were called to be free, but do not use this freedom to indulge the flesh, because freedom is not doing whatever we just feel. Feelings can be deceiving too, as you can imagine. I'm sure Janae, wherever she is, or Shannon, wherever he is feeling differently about the people that they were kind of in a relationship with. But freedom is choosing what leads us to life. Freedom is knowing the truth and walking away from things that can cost us everything. So sometimes in the current culture we're in, if we kind of zoom out a little bit, I want to look at the deeper deception behind it all. And both of these stories, Jana and Kenny, Shannon and, what's her name? Gabriela, I think they highlight the same trap. They highlight the same trap. Let me know what you think. We're playing the games the culture told us were winnable, but we're being played. We're playing games as I can follow the culture. I can go on shows and kind of do the things that they do on Love Island and not be hurt. I can take a relationship the way it was designed by God and twist it and twist it and twist it and think I'm going to kind of enjoy it. I can go be with a person who for a living kind of sells her beauty, body, whatever it is, and she won't want to sell it to me. We're being played at the end of the day because we're told, hey, date who you want, just make it look good online. We're told get the bag if it can cost you your peace. We're told, hey, you're grown, no one can tell you anything. But these stories keep happening and ending the same way, which is somebody somewhere is being deceived. And we're just not being deceived by a Kenny or a Gabriela. I think not. I think we're deceived by the culture. And I think we're deceived by the deceiver in chief, Satan himself. And so I think that it requires limits. Real freedom does require limits and a structure and a frame for us to be well, for other people to be well, for us to cohabitate and love on each other and just be good, do good. And I think it requires a parent. It's just, I know it's cheesy, but I think it requires God is where I'm going with this. And so I just want to propose that we start again asking God if the relationships we're trying to get in are wise, not just exciting. I think we need to pray for discernment, pray for wisdom, pray for discipline also, and maybe pray for the people around us if we see that they might be going down the wrong path, because it's not always as it seems. Sometimes people are doing bad things, not because they're bad people, but because they've been deceived themselves, is what I'm trying to say. So God can be the parent that we all need. And, we just need somebody who tells us that's not love, that's not wisdom, you're walking into a trap. And for a lot of people, including myself, that parent is God. So I'm trying to see if you want to kind of join the fam. I'm trying to see if you want to join the fam and be parented by my parent. Because if I may add in one last truth, Hebrews 12 says, "My son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline and do not lose heart when he when he rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines the one he loves. Meaning, sometimes you'll open a Bible to learn about life and truth, and it'll slap you. I've always said this: if the Bible does not slap you every now and then, how are you reading it? But even though it slaps you, it teaches you things, and it shows you truth, and it leads you to God. And so that discipline might not look like conviction. Might look like a conviction. It might look like a breakup. It could feel like something is falling apart, that when you really think about it, was not built right to begin with. And so that is also grace. And we need to remember that God does not let us play ourselves forever. When we get close to him, we know truth, we find truth, and eventually he does step in. And if we let him, he'll teach us how to actually live free, is what I'm trying to say, and to be wise and to be happy for real. So that was kind of, I lost my mic. So that was kind of my spiel for today. My question for you is, what is a lie, if any, that you may have believed, that culture taught you, that you may have believed, about love or success, that ended up kind of wounding? What do you think about these two situations? What have you learned through it all, through these headlines? And also, of course, for anybody who has not met God yet, what would your life look like if you stopped chasing culture and dreams and things like that and started chasing God? How about that? So I just wanted to put this here and go about my day. Hopefully you enjoyed it. But of course, if this stirred something in you, drop a comment, drop a like, who knows, share with somebody who might need that. I guess I will see you next time.